Good morning, Dan.
Hey Larry, how are you?
I'm good.
Great to hear
Can
your
you see me?
voice.
I'm doing good, Dan. I came back and rented my apartment where I used to rent before, and I just rented half of it. So it's only 190 US dollars a month, Dan. And
Uh, uh-huh.
I couldn't get a storage building in the United States for $190 a month. So it's best just to keep it and always have my stuff there in the lot.
Okay. So you keep it
So
as a base, keep it as a base.
yeah, I'm keeping it as a base, Dan, because the way it's set up, I've got a flat screen 43-inch Sony TV. I've got all the cable, Wi-Fi, internet. I've got my uh, Fire Stick. I've got everything there. And my landlord, she pays for all of the cable, Wi-Fi, internet, water, even my drinking water. She pays for the big bottles
Wow.
for $190 a month, Dan. And there's nowhere in the world, I can go find somewhere like that just to use as my base.
Right. And you mentioned your girlfriend's in Davao in the Philippines, right?
I'm in Ho Chi Minh now, and go to Manila tomorrow evening, and
Right.
I'm going to go down to Davao. My girlfriend's in Davao, Dan, so I go down and see her, and I'm kind of commuting until they do something definite with the visa scenario here.
Right.
So kind of like you, I'm traveling, but Dan, yeah, she's in Davao, and I'm probably going to look for maybe an apartment down there and be able to commute back and forth. Kind of use the lot. You guys have been to the lot. It's a nice place, and a lot of people have summer homes here, so they come up for the summer. And we always will probably keep this place because it's so economical, and also in the mountains, and it's cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little town up in the mountains, and
Yeah,
I agree. It's very green. It's very
yeah.
healthy up. It feels healthy to me up there, and the food
Yeah, it is. And
is
Dan, you're
amazing.
you're a vegetarian also, and all the vegetables and fruits that they grow here in the mountains. I mean, we have everything, and they even have their own vineyards in here, and they've got Delot wine for $3 a bottle.
That's hard to beat, isn't it? I mean, just the rent you're paying, that's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, and I mean, I've got like a recliner. It's like a lazy boy recliner. I'm just grow old and be lazy, but Dan, I walk 5 to 10 kilometers every day,
That's great. And
and
that
and
and
since
it's and that's going to keep you healthy, and
yeah.
it's a beautiful place to walk. It's so
Yeah,
green and
because it's nice and cool in the morning. You just wear a sweater or a light jacket in the mornings when it's cool, and then by 10 o'clock you're taking it off because it's warmed up. So, it's a
yeah.
great climate, and if they finally fix the visa scenarios, Dan, then we'll be happy.
Yeah, I thank you for the you emailed me that article which I read. And
Yeah,
there now, as you know, as Americans, it seems like it's 2 years ago now. Maybe it's longer, but we used to be able to get like up to a 1 year
yeah,
visa there,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then
And
they
you could either get a business visa that didn't allow you to really to work, but you could get a 1 year visa, and you could come and go as you please. But then you could have a tourist visa, and the only thing you had to do was leave the country every 90 days and come back. And that
right.
that wasn't a big deal because a lot of people that live here want to go to Thailand, or they want to go to Korea or Japan or Malaysia, wherever they want to go on a little week or 2 week trip and come back.
Right. So 90 days wasn't a problem at all. And then they went to 30-day tourist visas, right?
Yeah, they did, and that was during COVID, and they never changed that scenario. But
Right.
what doesn't make a lot of sense is you've got countries like Thailand. Thailand, 20% of their GDP is tourism, and I think maybe 1% or less right now in Vietnam is the GDP of tourism here, and especially international tourism. So they've got to change.
Yeah, they're if they want that tourist industry, they've got to make it easier. Although, most people are 30 days is enough if they're just going on vacation or whatever. But
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they want that, if they want the older guys like us to come and stay, it'd be nice if they made it better or easier, I should say.
Yeah, because I'm in Ho Chi Minh now, and I was talking to the owner of the hotel where I stay, and I told her, it just doesn't make sense to have me here to spend money for 30 days instead of 365 days. if they want to try to build that tourism base back again.
Right. So, so that article you mentioned that you emailed me said that they're thinking about going to a 90-day visa. What's the story there?
Yeah,
Tell us about that, Larry.
yeah, they've been talking about that, Dan, and talking about it since they changed it a couple of years ago when COVID was here. And
Right.
what they want to do now, Dan, is that supposedly their governments or their assembly, however they're set up here, is going to meet in May, and they're going to take a vote on extending the 30 days to 90 days for Americans and probably most Europeans. And then because some countries now, Dan, coming into Vietnam can only get 2 weeks visa.
Right.
Or 15 days, I think. So it's a big deal for them to change if they're going to go ahead and do it, because, you know, the hotel owners, the tourism people, the taxis, all the Gojeks and Grabs, they need all these international tourists to spend money here too, longer. So we'll see, Dan, but, you know, until May, we don't know. I was thinking once I came back and started doing the border runs to Cambodia, that it would be done by the first quarter, but it's not done by the first quarter.
So you mentioned the border runs to Cambodia. Explain how that works so people have an idea of how that works.
Yeah, Dan, I use a visa group here in Ho Chi Minh, and not far from my hotel, and they're in District 1. I stay in District 3. And she's running right now 3 different shuttles, or three different days of the week, shuttles to the Cambodian border. You depart at 6:30 in the morning. You're usually over at her office at 6 a.m. They have shuttles, the 10 or 12 passenger type vans that
Right.
They load up. The one I went on last month, she had 2 vans, like about 20 or 22 people that were going over for the renew their visas. So what you have to do is you get on the visa, get on her list, and then you pay her she does your return visa for you to re-enter Vietnam. She does your e-visa to go into Cambodia. And so that process is pretty cut and dry. And then she provides the shuttles and the vans. And then she goes with you. She sits on the Cambodian border side. So if anyone has any issues, Dan, they can consult with her and talk to her, and she can talk to the customs people also over there. So
Right.
she charges $110, and that includes the $25 e-visa for re-entry into Vietnam. I think it's around $35 or $36 for the e-visa into Cambodia. She gives you those once you get on her shuttles. So you have those. So we go over in a group, we walk across customs, they stamp you out of Vietnam, and then you go around the corner and they stamp you into Cambodia, you give them the Cambodian e-visa. Then you walk around the other side of the building to re-enter Vietnam, or you got to exit out of Cambodia once you enter into Cambodia.
Mm-hmm.
All of that process takes about 45 minutes to go through and do that. You come back across to the Vietnam border side, and then you wait for the whole group to get back, because it's like a United Nations group going over there. There's Russians, there's
Mm-hmm.
British, there's American, there's Australians. So they're from all over the world. So at one, you know, it's not great to ride the bus, so the shuttle for 2 hours or 2.5 hours over to the border, because it's just a lot of traffic. But you meet a lot of people, and you get to know different people from different areas.
So it's about 2.5 hours, you said?
Yeah, it's about
Each
2.5
way?
hours. Yeah,
Right.
over each way. So she tries to leave at 6:30 in the morning and tries to get everybody back by 12:30. If it all goes well, but you know, if somebody has an issue on the other side and it takes them longer, then you get back a little bit later. You might get back at 1:30 or 2, something like that. So pretty much kills the most of the day, Dan, to go over and do it. But that's just part of the process that people have to do if you want to stay here in Vietnam.
And you recommend her service? You find it's helpful?
Yeah, I do, because I'll give you one example. You know, you apply on the e-visa online for Vietnam. The last time I was out of the country, I applied online. They said they came back and said, please resubmit your passport, copy of your passport. Did that, and didn't ever hear an answer from them. So I went back to my visa agent. She said, Larry, if you're smart, you'll just redo the whole thing and do it over again. So I ended up having to pay another $25. So that's $50 to get my online visa. So the second time they came back and it was approved, but it took 2 weeks, and it's taking longer. There's more people coming to Vietnam now, and she will do the visa for you, so you don't have to mess with it for $14. So for $39, she just does the visa totally, pays the $25 and charges you $14 if you don't want to hassle with it. If you don't want to do it online, she'll just do it for you.
And what's the name of her company? Is it on the internet? People.
Yeah, it's on the internet, and she's on Facebook. Her name for company is Emily.
Emily.
Emily, yes, visa. And I've used her, Dan, since 2018, 2019, when I was here and getting extensions. And I had one issue trying to get back to Vietnam. I never had gotten an answer from the e-visa scenario. I submitted it like 10 days in advance and still didn't get an answer. I called her and said, look, my flight's leaving the Philippines tomorrow and I need help. And she got it done in 2 hours to get my visa for me.
Yeah,
so I didn't have to cancel my flight. Yeah, to come back. So she's very dependable here in Ho Chi Minh.
That's great. And so, and you mentioned now that did you say you're in Davao now, or?
No, I'm going to Davao. I'm going to Davao tomorrow evening.
Oh, you're in Ho Chi.
I'm in Ho Chi Minh because I came down to catch my flight to Manila tomorrow.
I see. And so, you're going to Manila.
Dan, I always leave a couple of days early because you never know if they're going to cancel your flight or something happens. So you want to be prepared. I always have action plan A, B, and C.
That's great. And so Manila, is it still true that you have to fly into Manila? Cebu's not open right now, right? Is that still true?
I don't know, Dan. Manila, I don't go to Cebu. I just fly to Manila, and then I go into Terminal 3 there. And the flights from Vietnam into Manila get in late at night. So I usually go up to the 4th floor there and get one of those little capsule rooms and just sleep for a few hours and catch my flight to Davao early the next morning.
So you mentioned you keep a place in Vietnam. Do you also keep one in Davao, or you just rent when you're there?
I'm just renting when I'm there. This time I'm going to be there for the full month, Dan, and I'm going to look for a full-time apartment. But the apartments in Davao are not furnished as nice as they are here in Vietnam. So they're a little bit more expensive also in Davao because of you want to feel comfortable in Davao and be somewhere where you feel secure, and they may charge a little bit extra for that. And here in Vietnam, in Dalat, where I live, it's really safe. It's great. Yeah,
it's a beautiful city. And so you're going to be there for about a month, and you're in Davao. You said your girlfriend lives there, yeah?
Yeah, she lives there, and what we're going to do is get her passport done for her. And she works and has a job there and everything, but going to try to get her passport and get it set up where she can, I guess, come up to Vietnam, and we'll see if we can try that. It's difficult for a lot of the Filipino people especially the young ladies, to travel out of the Philippines. So they make it more difficult because they think they're being trafficked. But I've found that if you go through an attorney there that's next to the immigration office in Davao, you fill out a form like an attestment, and you fill out that form of attestment for your girlfriend or whoever's coming with you, that you will be responsible and pledging to the attorney and going on file that you'll be responsible for her expenses and also her return. And so there's another extra step to go through, but the attorney doesn't charge very much, about $20 to do that. And to have that also to present to customs or immigration when they're trying to depart, it helps a little bit.
And then as a Filipino, since they're an ASEAN country, they don't need a visa to go to Vietnam, I would assume.
No, they can come and go. They can come and go, and they get 30 days to come in also. So she could come back, we have a vacation here, and go back to Davao as well. So I guess that's our goal and what we're trying to accomplish in the future.
Well, that's great. It's and so she'll get to travel with you.
Yeah. And so with only paying like $190 a month for my studio apartment here in Dalat, it's easy to be able to have another apartment for $400 or $500 a month in Davao and have two residences really to go back and forth to. And Small Island is right across from the ferry ride from Davao, and Small's a very pretty place to go, and it's nice to get away there also.
Yeah, that's like a white sand beach day trip, right? I think I've been
Yeah,
over there.
it is, and a lot of the places have not like they used to be in Samal because of COVID, but they're rebuilding and coming back. And place I used to stay just closed their doors, I guess, because they didn't have enough tourism. But hopefully, more people are coming back, and they'll rebuild Samal back the way it was before.
Right. Do you ever, when you do a visa run to Cambodia, you ever just stay in Cambodia for a while, or just do it for
No, not really. I just come back, and because I have to come down to Ho Chi Minh. And I enjoy coming to Ho Chi Minh once every couple of months or every month and spend a couple of days because there's, my favorite restaurants and things I like here. And
Right.
in District 3, I can walk past the main park going into District 1. And it's only a couple of kilometers down to the mall and different places. So D3 is a little bit more quiet and reserved than D1. With all the tourists in D1. And so I stay in District 3 and be able to walk there. And so I enjoy coming to Ho Chi Minh also. And, I also go to Nha Trang. Nha Trang's 2.5 hours shuttle from Dalat. And I like to go to the beach in Nha Trang. It's super reasonable now because, before we had a lot of Russian tourists in Nha Trang that came, and Chinese as well. And they all have not come back yet to Nha Trang. So, you can get a beachfront, beautiful condo overlooking the sea there for $30 a night.
Wow, that's great. I love that city. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
city.
Nha Trang's probably one of my favorite ones to stay because of the really good restaurants, it's the walkability of the city, and walking the beach there. I got to get up at 5:30 and catch the sun and on the beach, so it's pretty there.
Yeah, I love how all the locals are doing yoga and swimming in the morning, watching the sun
Yeah,
come up.
and
It's
all
very beautiful.
the women have their blasters on and doing their dance routines and all of that. So it's always interesting to watch everybody there.
Yeah, it's a great city, and
Yeah,
I've had a lot of good time. A bunch of good mud hot baths there and stuff, and some
I've done that.
great
Yep.
temples and great food. It's a great city, and having Dalat nearby when it gets too hot, you just run up there, and a good
Yeah,
combination of two cities to move between.
yeah. Right now, Dalat is it's kind of slow, but they're getting ready to start their summer season because you have many of the people in Ho Chi Minh start coming up to Dalat for the summer because of the hot weather here, or in Nha Trang or Da Nang. They come up to Dalat and get away and escape the heat. So
Yeah. So you mentioned the weather. What are your mornings weather temperatures and your night temperatures?
the
Are
morning
more
temperatures morning temperatures could range from 55 degrees now in the mornings to 60 in the morning,
that's
and
Fahrenheit. Yeah.
in Fahrenheit. And in the afternoons, it's 80 or 85 right now in the afternoons.
Oh, that's
So,
perfect
but
weather.
the weather cools off after 2 o'clock. You get this cool northerly breeze. I don't know, it just happens, and it starts cooling off after 2. So, why I say you can walk. It's the walkability of the city is easy, and then you can get out early in the mornings while it's cool and walk. You're not burning up, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great city.
Yeah,
And
it is a
so,
good city, and
uh,
that's pretty much, Dan, everything. But the Vietnam visa situation, everyone's hoping, Dan, that it improves, and that in May that they vote that change, and that where Americans and most Europeans, Australians would have 3 months for a tourist visa, and that would make it a lot easier. It means you would only have to exit the country 4 times a year.
exactly. Yeah. Um, well, good. So, it sounds like you're able to save a little money in Vietnam when you're there as compared to the
Yeah,
Philippines.
yeah, you can because Dan, I cook a lot of my own foods. I go to the markets in the morning. I'm like with all the other women out there trying to get all the fresh vegetables and fruits in the morning. I'm the only guy out there looking, but I shop every day because I changed my diet, and I only eat basically whole foods and fresh foods, and nothing out of a can or nothing out of a box any longer, Dan. And also quit eating sugar, so you can eat really healthy in Dalat. And the prices are so inexpensive to me that I buy things and I don't even, I don't even cook them. They just look good. I
Yeah,
buy too much
that's true. Yeah, it's
because
and the
I can go buy vegetables and all kinds of stuff for $1, and I can't even eat it all. And I cook. I have an air fryer, Dan, and I use that air fryer for almost everything. And whether I cook fish or salmon or chicken breast, whatever, I use that one. So you can really live economically here, and you can really live healthy here.
Yeah. Yeah, the food's amazing in Vietnam. I do recall they had a pretty nice night market in Davao though too. The
Yeah,
night
they
market there.
do. They
Yeah.
do. It's huge, and a lot of the young people come and they congregate there because, again, Davao is a really a nice city, and the people can come to the night markets, and they're fixing all the Vietnamese things in the open market air. And as you travel, you enjoy all the smells from the food from the vendors outside cooking. So it's always a nice place to go. And in the evenings, you need to wear a sweater or light jacket because it gets cool after 5 o'clock. It starts to cool way down.
Yeah, absolutely. So Larry, thanks for calling and giving us an update on what's going on, and really appreciate it. Let us know when you find out more about the visa when that opens up. If you
I will, and again, like I said in May, that hopefully they're having their meetings and going to take a vote on it in the government.
Well, good, Larry. Thanks for coming on and giving us the update. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Dan. Have a good trip wherever you're traveling.
Yeah, take care.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.